And we are live. So today we are going to review Freeform by Chuggers.
Doot, doot. Freeform by Chuggers. It's an
Dedicated
Omni.
to the Line Rider community.
Doot, doot. It is an
Freeform.
Omni,
Uh-oh.
which
by
is
Chuggers.
Why is
That's,
it always... There we go.
something we haven't seen in a while. In my opinion, for good reason, but
Should we,
let's get into it, man.
start the movie?
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Opening's probably my least favorite part. It's like early flashbulb, like, you know, that sort of like flashbulb style quirk that had like just flings and flings. And like the music is frenetic, but it's just lots of movement.
I'm
Know what
sorry.
I'm saying?
I'm getting lag for no good reason. Can we start over?
Yeah.
I lower the quality, so hopefully I won't get so much lag. Hopefully the stream is not too choppy. I wonder if there's like... I think if I change this window, maybe that'll help. And I'll turn this off. All right, let's try this again. Sorry. 3, 2, 1, go.
Anyway, yeah. I don't like this part because the music is frenetic and the track itself isn't. It's just a lot of...
I think it matches pretty well.
Really?
I mean, it's busy quirk and it's busy. It's like busy, somewhat monotonous quirk, and it's busy, somewhat monotonous music.
I guess. Like, when I hear that sort of like all over the place... Ooh.
I love this part where it shifts
Yeah,
to the
that
manual
moment.
and then back.
That's,
It's a great moment.
I was hoping it would...
I mean, when I say it fits well, it doesn't mean I like it, but I just... I mean, to me, it's like fling quirk with somewhat fitting music, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I see mostly when I watch this track in general.
Yeah.
Like, we're like a minute in, and now he just starts to do something other than just straight fling quirk.
Yeah. But when I hear that sort of like...
It's an interesting take on manuals. Like, these manuals are not manuals in the traditional sense. It's very high speed. And some of them are clearly like flings with green lines connecting them. But it's an interesting how... I like that, how he's focusing more on aesthetic than on functionality to sync to the sections. I don't know how I feel about this section. It's like maybe too big of a shift for me. Though it's more interesting to watch, that's for sure. So when you get to it, it's like, oh, this is more exciting.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it matches the music anymore.
Yeah. It is definitely a huge tonal shift. Oh, there's
an enormous tonal shift, which
I like that
also
a
isn't
lot.
super reflected in the music. And then this is another shift. I mean, yeah, I guess it's like it's not supposed to be synced. Well, it's interesting because it seemed like the first like 2 minutes were like, we're gonna sync this to the music, and then it kind of went its own way and started doing. It's like it suddenly became an Omni, you know?
Yeah.
Wait, here's my favorite part. This part.
Oh yeah, that's
Best part of the track.
Yep.
And then it's like back to kind of what we saw in the beginning, except it alternates a lot between these sort of quote-unquote manuals and then fling quirk, which it didn't do earlier, so I mean, I guess it's probably intentional, but
like there are isolated moments
And
that
then
I love a lot.
There's one isolated moment I love, which is that like, I don't know what to call it, chromatic. Oh wait, are we watching color replay? I just paused it. Sorry, my bad.
Whatever works.
I'm at 346. Let's just keep watching it and keep talking about it. I don't know why I paused it.
Okay, yeah.
Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
Good old-fashioned color replay.
Yep.
I honestly.
So what's your overall verdict?
I don't want to say this in like a mean way, but like.
I honestly found myself kind of bored for most of it. There were like a few moments that were like cool. Like I liked that first moment when the manual kicked in. I love that chromatic like line getting farther apart moment.
Yes. To both of those.
And I'm struggling to remember any other moments I like, to be honest. I'm trying to. I think that's pretty much the only things that I was like, ooh yeah. But at the same time, sorry, I didn't let you finish.
I also like the way he played with using the flings kind of to represent manuals and how he interacted with the line there. It was sort of more of this like frenetic popping than a smooth like push-pull, which and I think there's more to be explored there.
With what part?
The sort of quote-unquote fling manuals. Because normally when we see that sort of like back and forth motion from Bosch, it's during a fling, and so to see it in a continuous line was kind of disconcerting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's somewhat interesting. I don't find it that interesting, but I could see how other people would, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not like the most interesting thing on its own, but I think it's something that merits kind of further exploration and application.
I like the aesthetic whenever it actually gave the illusion that it was a curve. When it was like a jagged thing, I don't know if it worked as well. It's like towards the end, he does a lot of them that are like a lot more jagged, and I don't know if those work as well for me. It's an interesting aesthetic though to have those smooth lines with Bosch doing the vibrating thing above them, like that could. Like that, it's like it creates the two ideas at once, which is like a smooth, constant aesthetic, and at the same time, there's this busyness of because Bosch is moving. I don't know.
All right, I'm starting slow-mo from the beginning.
All right, cool. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. So I guess, do you want to give your overall verdict? Or do you want me to go first?
You can start.
All right. Well, I would say, on the one hand, I was bored for most of this. On the other hand, if you said this is the best Omnitrack ever created, I'd be like, yeah, you're right. You know?
Yeah.
And so I think what this, like, that was my reaction. I was like, this is the best Omnitrack I've ever seen. And I was not terribly entertained by it.
Yeah.
And that sort of opened my eyes, and I realized, am I like just not interested in Omnitracks anymore? I think that's the case. I think I'm just Omnitracks, like it doesn't get me. They don't get me excited anymore. You know.
Here's why.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to do the hottest of takes right now. So.
Hottest possible take coming right up.
I think you don't like Omnitracks anymore because you're tired of performative tracks. And as a genre, Omnitracks are necessarily performative. That is, when you are making an Omnitrack, your goal is never to create something that has meaning or is interesting or really has something to say. And not necessarily saying that everything needs to have something to say, but that's usually that's an area of line writer that's incredibly underrepresented at the moment. which is why our interest often goes towards those things.
Mm.
And it, omnis are restrictive by their very nature. You have to have this style, this style, this style, this style.
Yeah,
And very few tracks deviate from that. Like Griffin only used three styles, the track by Giorgio.
yeah.
Uh, but that's the farthest I think anyone's deviated.
What is?
Uh, Doing only three styles, because usually people go like four, right? At least. Uh, and so uh, you have to work within that shell, right? And so what you're left with is
I mean, I don't
you,
think Chuggers set out to make an Omni track necessarily.
mm,
I don't
let's
think he
look.
was like. I don't think he started this being like, I'm gonna make an Omni track. I think it just happened that way because a lot of people. That's what a lot of people think of when they like when they watch a line writer track or when they're making a line writer track and they're like, I want to do something like like whenever they're like, I want this to shift somehow, instead of thinking, I don't know what it's instead of, but like whenever people are like making a track and they're making something and then like the music changes a little, they're like, now I have to do a different style of track, you know? And I think
Right.
that's how omnis happen is people aren't like, I mean, maybe some people are like, I mean, I'm sure there's some omnis that are like, people are like, I'm going to make an omni track. But other times it's just people, like I think about, like lots of different tracks are considered omni tracks, even though they don't really have like distinct sections. Um,
Yeah.
like like centrifugal force has very clear sections of like this is this and this is this and this is this, you know,
Mm.
almost like it was planned. I don't know if it was planned from the start, but it reads like the sections are like clear, you know.
Yeah.
um at least it was planned that when he was like, I'm going to do this style now, it was very clear like this style is being done now. Whereas if you think about like Eden 2, for example, that track is considered an omni track by a lot of people,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have clear distinctions of sections for the most part, you know?
Uh,
It's more like he's making something with the music, and then I
mm.
think this track follows that a little more. It's just that the sections end up being distinct because
The
that's
music
what
is
Chuggers
distinct.
has in his grab bag, and he's like, "What do I want to do now that the music has changed?" And he's like, "I'll do this, you know, I'll do this style
So
um,
the
of
larger
track."
point I was building to though
Yeah,
is
go
that
ahead.
Omni basically 100% of the time with Omnis, you're going to be like your goal is to be like I can do all of these styles really well. It's never going to be
Hmm.
like
I don't know
this
if I agree
builds
with
to
that.
something.
Go ahead, keep going. Or is
This
that it?
builds to that's really it. So that's I think
I don't think
why
that's the reason people make omnis. Maybe it is for
uh,
some people.
really I've always thought Omnis were like kind of just a look at me I can do all these styles sort of
I think it's
genre.
people are like, well, people think of it as like this project will be the best if I do these different styles and it fits them. And I want to do different styles every time the music changes, you know? Um, so whenever the music changes, they do another style, you know? Um, but it's not, I mean, I guess partly I guess it is for most Omni tracks, it's like partly like I can do all these things, but it's not always that. And I don't think that's what Chuggers was going for here. I don't think he was making this
Mm,
just because he wanted to do a whole bunch of different styles. I think he was just like making a track that making an aesthetic that he thought fit the music, and then was like, I need to switch it up when the music changes here, and was like, I'll do this kind of track now, you know, and then the
yeah.
music changed again. Oh, now I'm going to do X, Y, and then the music changes again, and then okay, now I'm going to do a section where Bosch is going all to the right, and there's lots of pinches, you know. Um,
I can see that.
I'm pretty sure that's. I mean, that's how when I look at this, that's how I see it. I don't see it as like he's trying to show off what he can do. I mean, I guess for him, I'm pretty sure that is part of every track he does, but I don't think that was the reason for the sections. I think the reason for the
Yeah.
sections was inspired by the shifts in the music. Um what I struggle with is um I don't know. I feel like this. It's like jam syndrome. It's like the music is super repetitive, um,
Yeah.
and the
I was
track
feeling
and
that pretty
Chuggers like
hard.
gets to the 2 minute mark and he's like, this track is super repetitive, and then he's like, well, the music shifts a little bit and he's like, let's do something totally different, and what I end up seeing is like a big shift into something that doesn't match the music anymore, like this section that we're watching right now.
Huh.
Um, I mean, on the other hand, I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm not here to say that like Chuggers shouldn't make tracks however he wants to make tracks, because obviously he had fun making this and is very proud
Right.
of it. And I say, more power to you. Do more of whatever you want to do. And I honestly don't even really know what his goals are or what kind of feedback I could give that would be helpful, because I don't know what he's trying to do
I think that's a
in the
good.
future. Um, but I like I mean I look at this and it's large, repetitive, sort of monotonous sections that fit the music, and then other sections that don't fit the music and are much busier and more, I don't want to say interesting because I've seen them a whole lot before, but there's a lot more going on. Um,
So, question then.
yeah, go ahead.
Uh, I think something we should ask of the people we're reviewing this from, not that they have to give this response, emotional labor and all that, but I think it would be good if uh, once we're done with this review, hopefully, Chuggers sees this, and I'm interested to hear where he wants to go with his tracks, how he wants uh, to keep making that, and if we're necessarily the
I'm always
best.
interested in hearing what people are
Yeah,
interested in feedback on and what their goals are for like what they want to do with Line Rider. I think a lot of people
yeah,
don't really know, but if people have thoughts on that, I'm always down for hearing that.
yeah,
Um,
because if you want us to be like that rotation
I
was good or that flow was good, we're not the reviewers for you on
Yeah,
that one.
yeah. We're not
Uh,
gonna critique, like, at least I will not be like, this particular like moment in flow could be better if you did this, um,
well,
because
no,
it depends
it
on what
needs
you're going
hashtag
for me.
it needs hashtag real flow.
But like, I mean, I guess in these reviews, what I like to do is just respond to like, how did this track affect me?
Yeah,
Like what, like,
for this one, I can't really say it did.
yeah, um,
Which is kind of I feel like that's a harsh thing to say because so
yeah,
much
it's like
work went into
it's
this.
like it's hard for me to know what to say when it's like, this is by standards of, even admittedly, like, if I had watched this track 3 or 4 years ago, maybe, yeah, if I had watched this track 4 or 5 years ago, um, I almost certainly would have been like, this is awesome. And so that makes it kind of worse for me to just be like, I didn't really get much out of it, but at the same time, I didn't really get much out of it.
Yeah.
And that's obviously, um, a personal taste thing. But I don't feel like there's any other way I can constructively respond unless there's some sort of um, idea on what someone would like feedback on. I mean, from what the vibe I got off Chuggers with this track is basically like this track is pretty much perfect, and I don't even know if he's interested in feedback at all, you know. Um, and I could be wrong about that, but that's the impression I got. So yeah, so I don't even know who this review is for. I mean, maybe it's just for us to talk about our reaction to this track, and people can
And in a
tune
more
in or
general
not.
sense,
But
how we react to tracks and how we review tracks, which is a very sort of like masturbatory navel gazing kind of uh, sort of
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think reviewing your own track would be. Um,
Yeah,
but I think talking about your reaction to someone else's track, um, I
because
think that's something everyone should do. I mean, I think that's.
we're very
But
definitely
the thing
centering
is like
ourselves here.
it's hard to provide. Um, it's hard to provide like something that approaches greater objectivity when it's clear that your opinion differs so much from pretty much everyone who has given feedback up until this point, you know? And
Okay,
so maybe
so
there's people out there who feel like us, but I kind of doubt it, you know?
I think maybe moving on from here, one of the things we could do is we could uh, maybe prior to reviewing ask people what they want feedback on, because I feel like if we
Yeah,
do
I'm
this,
not. I mean, if you want to do that, that's great. I'm not really that big on that idea.
yeah,
People. I would love it if people would like publicly say like what they'd like feedback on, but I
yeah,
don't want to go out and ask you individual. I don't want to go out and ask individual people like what do you
that's
want us to
true,
talk
that's true.
about? Because I want to talk about whatever I want to talk about. I want to talk about whatever interests me or doesn't about the track. You know, not what the author thinks should interest me or not about the track. You know, unless they make some sort of statement about it and interest. I don't know. And it's interesting to talk
Hmm.
about how I agree or
Because we're
don't
like
agree with their
we're
thoughts
in a
on the track.
space,
Yeah.
we're in a space where all of us are around and constantly interacting with and viewing each other's tracks and interacting with the people as well, which is a little different, I think, than a lot of like other artist spaces where like an artist will publish something and then they'll have a bunch of people who don't make that stuff
Yeah.
uh, talking with and about that piece. This is a very unique situation we're in where we're kind of all in the same space,
Yeah.
and it of
Because there's
both
nowhere
being,
else.
yeah, there's nowhere else. There's you have to be both a creator and a critic.
Well, you don't have to.
Well,
But you can't if you want to be a critic, you can't
I
do
feel
it.
like I have to
You
be,
can't
but
do it somewhere else. And if you want to be a creator, you can't do it somewhere else because no one else cares. You know,
yeah.
that's the that's the chief struggle.
So yeah, I think
I
those are
mean,
my
I guess
impressions.
yeah, that's our impressions. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people disagree with us on this point
Yeah,
on
I
our
I
assessment of the track.
I really hope we don't get like people who are like angry about it, though I'm sure that happens.
Well, I'm
uh,
sure people will get angry. I just hope people don't like yell at us about it.
yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if there's much we can do about that. I mean, I guess I feel compelled to like give an opinion on like if I were Chuggers, like what would I do differently? And I guess for me it would be I don't know, try thinking more outside the box. Um, I mean, there were a few interesting ideas in this that I would have liked to see expanded on, but mostly it was a lot of fling work.
Yeah,
um, and that's
I feel
just
like it's
it's
pretty
just
limiting.
yeah, it's kind of limiting. And then there was that like XY section that was just super quirky. There was that more compact section that was very quirky, even though there was technically some quote unquote flat sled, but it was very
And I think we
it
also get
was
a lot
done
of
with a I don't know.
we get a lot of flack from people, honestly, because
Do we?
yeah, I hear a lot that like because we tend to generalize a lot of stuff into this is quirky, this is quirk without like going into the
I
gradations.
mean,
And
but there
I think
the
to address that though,
yeah. Go
like
ahead. Go ahead.
uh
I didn't know this, by the way. I did not know this,
yeah.
but it just it's making me face palm.
Like, yes, there are a bunch of gradations of it, but like there are jelly donuts, there are maple bars, there are all those kind of things, but they're all fucking donuts,
Yeah.
right? And
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 it's
if you
like,
say I don't, and if you say I don't like the way donuts,
if
uh,
you're just not a fan of donuts, you're not going to criticize each individual donut. You're just going to be like, I'm not a fan of any kind of donut,
and people are gonna be like, well, do you like apple fritters? Well, do you like maple bars? It's like
No, I'm
all the
not really a fan of
I
most donut. Like, maybe there's some, but like, I don't know. I'm not going to go
like
into a nuanced critique of each individual donut if I'm not interested in donuts in general.
yeah,
Is that what you were going to say?
basically. uh, so I'm just I'm airing all the grievances today. I'm an angry old man.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, this is obviously a track that got a huge positive response from the community, and neither of us are super big on it. So, this now is the time to like talk about all this stuff.
What else can I say? Well, I've got people here and full of anger.
Oh, I know
Well,
something else. I was curious. I was curious what Katie thought. My girlfriend, who's watched a bunch of Line Rider tracks but has never actually made anything. Mostly just watched things because I was like, "Here, watch this. Tell me what you think." And she watched this one, and she watched 3 a.m. And she liked 3 a.m. a lot better because, in her words, this one was too zoomed in.
because you don't know the lens of the average person, and I don't.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't think Chuggers made this for your own.
Probably not. Probably not. But
Uh,
like that was her reaction. Is like it's like so zoomed in, I can't see what's happening. Whereas 3 a.m. she enjoyed significantly more. So, but that was all she got out of it. Like she didn't see any of the nuances of any of the categories. Like that moment with. Actually, no, she did. She liked the green lines going apart. But she didn't see like the music shifting with the manuals and the different sections corresponding to different musical Like she didn't pick up
See,
on any of that.
that's the thing. We've been playing this game for so damn long that we notice this stuff,
Yeah, yeah,
and we're like, oh, we can be subtle about it. No, nobody's noticing these
yeah.
things. Nobody would be like, oh, that's a shift. Most people are gonna be like, oh, it's a little less zoomed in, I guess, and the lines are different.
I think her reaction was like, it just looked like the screen got slightly busier when it
Yeah,
went into the compact section, and I don't even think she realized the XY section was XY.
yeah,
Like I'm pretty sure that didn't even register. Because it's kind of hard to tell. It goes by super fast. And they're all really small lines, and it just looks like a whole bunch of dots.
yep.
But anyway,
That's
I
all she
was
wrote.
I was super validated because I was like, "What do you think of this track?" And I was like very careful, like not put any like it was like watch this track, and then I showed her a couple more, which we'll review later. But like not to like give her any impressions of what I thought before she finished watching them all. And then I was like, all right, rank them from like your favorite to your least favorite. And she liked 3 a.m. the best. And then this one was the last. And I was like, and I was
Who'd have
like,
thunk?
it was really,
Who'd have thunk?
yeah. And I was like, do you know that 3 a.m. took 3 hours and this one took like probably 50? And yeah, it was. Would
So
never
anyway,
have guessed that.
we're at 40 minutes. We have
We're
said
we're
a
at
lot
30 minutes actually, but yeah,
of 30 minutes.
we should
Okay.
probably call it quits.
We have not said a lot of incredibly positive things about this, which part of me feels bad for. But
Chuggers, if you made it through this,
yeah, I don't want this to just be like a constant trashing of this track because again, you put a lot of effort into it. I don't particularly. It's an incredibly good Omni. I don't like Omnis.
I guess, yeah. And personally, I didn't even realize I didn't like Omnis until I watched this one. It was like, I just realized I don't like Omnis anymore, you know?
And like, I've made Omnis.
Yeah, no. Me too. Did I make Omnis? I
Did you ever
praised
make an?
Omnis like crazy for
Oh
years.
yeah. You were like centrifugal force, and then you were
Yeah.
like Omniverse
Yeah.
and Omniverse 2, and
Actually,
well,
Omniverse 2 is the original Omnitrack, but whatever. We won't have to get into
yeah,
that. All right, I
yeah.
think that's good enough. I think we're done. Good
All
enough.
right,
TM
Rowdy.
by Chuggers. Copyright. Do not steal. Bye.
Ah.